Hello and welcome. This is Radull Live. Guys, thank you for joining us here on the show today. Yes, lots of football action to look forward to this weekend, guys. First of all, thanks for tuning in. Lots of football action to look forward to this weekend in the English Premier League, in the Kenyan Premier League. And I've asked my producer from next week, can we also have fixtures for Women's Premier League? Yes, we have a very vibrant league that is happening. Remember, guys, that 2021 is, we're recovering from a difficult year. 2020 was a difficult year, and I know you have goals that you want to achieve, and ABSA is saying allow us to help you to achieve your goals. Yes, open an ABSA One account today, guys, and you can get unsecured loans. You get easy repayment periods of up to 7 years. Yes, and lots more benefits. So open an ABSA One account today. If you don't know how to do that, text the word one, ONE, to 22268. Yes, now it's time to get into the show, and joining me today is a man I have so much respect for. In fact, let me put my head like this. None other than Kenya One, Arnold Origi.
Thanks, Carol. I'm humbled.
Niaje.
Pause, Anna.
Air bump.
Air bump.
I'm doing air bumps. By the way, Arnold, first of all, how do you pronounce the team you play for?
HIFK.
HIFK?
Yeah, in Finnish, HIFK.
Not HIFK?
Not the team that I play for, the team that I played for.
Oh, you played for? You're not with HIFK?
No, I'm not with
anymore.
HIFK anymore.
Okay, we'll get into your story just now. There's kit here in front of us, as you can see. And by the end of the show, Arnold is going to help me choose a team to give this kit to. Now, I have one Betika question that I'd like to ask you so that you can win this kit courtesy of Betika. The question today is, which FKF league does Betika sponsor? Which FKF league does Betika sponsor? Now, when you give your answer, make sure you nominate a local team to get this kit. So you give the answer and you nominate a local team next to your answer for who I can give this kit to. And at the end of the show, Arnold, you'll help me choose. I'll give you some of the answers and you'll help me choose.
I already have I have in mind a team that...
You have in mind a team?
Yeah, so
tell them to text. Tell them to text. But because you're here, by the way, I'll be biased.
Yeah.
Last weekend, I had ladies here, Harambee Starlets, and they helped me choose a women's team. Let me send a few shout-outs for people who've already tuned in. Imo Spencer says, representing my team, Tamlega FC. Lawrence Odhiambo, locked in. Ireri Junior, Black Mafia. Ish. We down here waiting. These names. Hassan Mehdi, inside. Xavier Gitao Masharia, inside. Like Daniel in the Den of Lions. Edgar Majale, locked. Norman Appel, in as always. Jose Kiyoko, representing Scotlanders FC. Polly Okello, we are here. Well, thank you guys for watching. And share the link, share the link, share the link, share the link. So you tell your friends to come. Arnold, we have so much to talk about. I hope an hour is enough. And that's because you've had such a long and illustrious career. I want us to start at the beginning. And of course, not dwell on too much because we have so much to talk about, as I said. But how did you get into football? And how did you get into playing in Norway?
Yeah, football was, I think it was in the blood because, as everybody knows, everybody in my family played football. So it's something that just came naturally. But, started as an outfield player in Dandora. I was born in Ziwani, but I was bred and raised in Dandora. So that's where my football career started. I started as an outfield player. I was playing for a team called Young Mighties. I think we had the bogey team of the Mice League. We used to lose, but I was the captain. And so how I got into goalkeeping was just a coincidence. Yeah, I would have been like maybe Divo or my Uncle Mike, but a goalkeeper didn't do well in his end of term exams, and so he was detained. That's how. So he couldn't get permission to come and play.
So you were thrown into
goal because we were playing a game called Royal Rumble. It's like the Royal Rumble wrestling. If you score, you get to choose who gets to go out. I was like one of the targets, and the game. You could be like, in football there are people like Filippo Inzaghi. So you can do all the work, then you come and shoot a deflection, the ball goes in. Then the person who the ball has deflected from, he gets to choose who goes out. And I was definitely going to be the one who. And you have 100 kids for the entire thing to end. It took like hours. So today I was like, today I just want to play, and the best position to play is goalkeeper. So I was goalkeeper during the entire Royal Rumble. I did well. So my teammates were like, Arnold, tulikuwa ukicheza. Take one for the team. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. It was just like a one-off thing. Fortunately or unfortunately, there were Meister scouts who are picking the team to go and represent Meister in the Norway Cup. And they saw me playing, and they invited me for the trials. It was 94. Didn't make it at first, but then 95 I went as a goalkeeper. I made it, and from there on.
And from there on, Norway said this guy is going nowhere. Nowhere.
So from there on, that was how my goalkeeping journey started.
Did your parents, because your father and your uncle, your cousins, your whole family of football players, were they behind you wanting to go professional?
My uncle Mike, since he was a professional football player, he knew what football did. He was encouraging me. When he came back, whether to play for the national team or for holiday, he would bring kids football or gloves. But my dad didn't want me to play football.
Your dad didn't want you to play football?
No, he didn't want me to play football. He wanted me to go to school.
And he was a footballer?
Yeah, he wanted me to go to school, to have an education. And because for him, I think it's because of the frustration that he had experienced as a footballer for Gor Mahia and the national team. And I think he saw there was no future in football. And at that time, there was not so many players going abroad. So the chance of you making it as a pro football player abroad were as good as zero. So he was like, the only chance you have is go get an education and then have a job. But then the thing is, I would Skype school. I was a truant. I would Skype school, but I would just Skype school mainly to play football. I say because especially the government school system, you go to school at 6, you leave at 6 in the evening. And especially during my high school years, I was signed for Madara United when I was in Form 3. And that was something that was exciting for me, playing with the likes of Titus, training every day with Duncan Ochieng, Walter Odedi, the vibe, the thing, just like being in a professional setup is something.
You were high on football.
Yeah, I enjoyed. So, and going to school at 6 a.m. in the morning and leaving at 6 p.m. in the evening. By the time we were training at Kasarani, by the time you arrived at Kasarani for training, the training was almost done. So I would Skype school, I used to pay my own school fees because, you start to earn money and then your dad is like, or even my dad was like, there's nothing, the most important thing now is education. So instead of us giving you your salary, we would be giving you a check to go and pay your school fees. But I would keep the check. I would keep it for even like 2, 3, like especially like for 2-3 months because, like if you haven't paid school fees, you'll be chased from school. So I would do that so that I could be chased from school so that I could
you have time to play football.
Yeah, to play football.
Wow.
So
your dad was not a happy man, I'm sure.
He didn't know that, but so when I finished high school, so when he came and told me like, okay, go and get an education, I was like, there's no point of me going and starting to do something that I know I'll be skiving to go and play football. I know if you come to me 6 a.m. in the morning and ask me like, Arnold, let's go train, I will do it. So for me, maybe subconsciously I knew that this is the only, like not the only way, but I have a high chance of doing something and becoming something in life through football. And if I get the chance, I'll give 100%.
But I'm sure you would, knowing what you know now, you understand where your dad was coming from.
Yeah, 100%. Then I didn't understand. Then I was just like thinking he was being mean and like strict parents.
Parents don't want me to do what I like.
Yeah, but like with hindsight, you can just look and I totally understand. He's a parent who wants the best from the best for his kid, and based on his experience, he was like, I think he saw that I am taking a path that's gonna lead to
such a gamble.
Yeah, it's such a gamble, And I remember going when I was going to Norway, just a friend of mine who invited me because he had contacts in Norway. So I was like, yeah, Dad, I'm going to Norway. And he was like, but you need to have a plan A, you need to have a plan B or plan C. I was like, Dad, you know what? My plan A is to go. Like he asked me like, what's your plan A? I was okay, my plan A is to go to Norway and get a contract. What's your plan B? Yeah, it's go to Norway and get a contract. What's your plan C? Yeah, it's go to get Norway.
And we can go there to Z.
Yeah. And so he was like, okay, if that's what you want, then I think that also convinced him to like, okay, now bring out the footballing side of him. And then he was like, if that's what you want, then you have to know that that's what's required for you to make it as a football player. And I was like, okay, if that's what you want, you know what I'm thinking about. But if that's what you want, then yeah, go and do your best.
But and you were in Norway for so many years. You went to Finland for a short time. Where are you based now? You're back because you are a Norwegian citizen.
Yeah, I'm a Norwegian citizen. So yeah, just going to Finland was just like, you know, going to play abroad. But now my contract with the Finnish club is done, and at the moment we're working with my agent to see where the next where my next paycheck will be coming from. But you know, if I can stay in Finland if I want, because you know I have the Norwegian citizenship. I can go back to Norway if I want. So I can stay in Kenya if I want, because also I have a Kenyan passport. So.
Now, you just to go to when you got your citizenship, and I think that is, I don't know whether that's the reason you were no longer called to Harambee Stars for some years, and then you got called back again. So you've had 2 stints at Harambee Stars. Yeah. The first, highly successful. Your comeback, it's only been what, 1 or 2 games? 1 game?
Yeah, now it's been 2 games.
Now it's been 2 games.
Okay, the home and away against Comoros. Yeah.
And what has been the experience? Because I remember interviewing you on radio about 2 years ago, and you said, all I want is to play for Harambee Stars again. If I'm called back, that is my dream now. Yeah. And you got called. How did that feel?
Yeah, it felt good. It felt good because I remember when we talked, and not only you, everybody who knew me and everybody who I talked about or talked with about the national team, my career for the national, I always told them that chapter is not yet done, because I always felt that, you know, you know, before the football player, Arnold Origi, I'm a huge fan of the Harambee Stars, you know, a huge fan of this country. But I had to make that decision that I made, you know, not only for my future, but for the future of so many kids behind me. You know, I think it would have been a shame if I went and played in Norway and then came back to Kenya and, you know, like, you know, have nothing to do after football, because now with my passport I can always go back to Norway, bring stuff if it's in terms of knowledge or kids or whatever, because that's what I love to do. So I had to take it's a decision that I had to make, and if I was to do it again, I would do it. But you know, in terms of playing for the national team, I always felt that, you know,
unfinished business.
Yeah, unfinished business.
Do you still feel you have unfinished business?
I still feel I have unfinished business, and you know, the ambition was to, like, first of all just come and call for the Cup of Nations, and the game against Comoros was like, okay, we go. For me, I was like, go get 6 points home and away, and then yeah, we are as good as through. Didn't happen. Played very bad game against Comoros at home. You know, that's purely on us players, because I think the technical bench, they did a good job they gave us information. We saw the Comoros' weaknesses, we saw their strong points, but I think at the end of the day, you know, when you go there, it's you players who have to execute the plan.
How would you turn that around? Because I know you've received a lot of criticism, and there are actually some comments here which I'm not going to read, because I think we've discussed it so many times how football is such a thankless job. Yeah. You're a hero when you're on top and you're a villain when you're not, and yet you can't be on top every single day. But how would you respond to that criticism, especially now that you've actually taken the responsibility and said, it was us players, what could you have done differently? Yeah,
first of all, just like, especially the first 20-15 minutes, we didn't have, like, there was no sense of urgency in terms of our build-up play, you know, our passing. We there was no sense of urgency. But in terms of when it comes to the critics, when I was coming back, when I accepted the call up, you know, I came back knowing that, you know, as a player, where I am in my career at the moment, you're always going to be the one that's going to be visible to the public. So if everything goes well, then you're going to get the praise.
Actually, the goalkeeper can't hide.
Yeah, and if it goes bad, then it's you who's going to get hammered. And you know, as a player, there comes a point in a player's career where you have to be really comfortable with that. You have to be able to handle the pressure, because I always believe that pressure is good. When you are under pressure, pressure, if you look at it in a positive way, pressure makes you do the right things right. You know, when I was young, maybe you would land and, okay, I want to go home, see my parents, see this. But then when you land, you realize the responsibility that you have, the amount of expectation that's on you. Yeah, so just like
40+ million Kenyans on your back.
Yeah, so you just land and direct to camp. Just like you go into game mode immediately, like even before you board the plane from Finland, you just starting to visualize. So, but that's football, you can play 5-6 games very well and play 2 games, because when I was coming to play for the national team, I was coming at the back of a very good season with my club, a very good season with my club, and sometimes it happens. You come, there's a game where you cannot replicate. You might play 6-7 games, 6-7 good games, and then there's 1 or 2 good games. Unfortunately, I won't say there were goalkeeping mistakes, especially the second goal against Comoros, or the second goal against Comoros. But knowing myself, I know I'm the kind of goalkeeper who saves those kind of goals, and that's when you become a match winner. And so I was so disappointed that I couldn't save. But that happens. I
think that's what fans don't realize, that you actually beat yourself up, because the way we react, it's like, so-and-so was substandard in the game and he's gone and he's happy and life has moved on. Yeah. But speaking to a lot of active footballers, they say, no, you beat yourself up. You probably don't even eat supper. You don't sleep for 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
It's hard, yeah. Especially but now you just have to
pick yourself up.
Yeah, to pick yourself up, because there's another challenge coming. But that's the nature of football. That's the nature of the game. And as a football player, you have to be comfortable with being praised, and you have to be comfortable with being criticized. Because if when you're praised, you explode, then you can lose your head, and there's a huge possibility that you won't be able to realize your potential. And when you get criticized, if you beat yourself and go all the way down, then it
will affect your performance
so
going forward.
That's the nature of the game.
But I noticed for you, and maybe you can tell us how important religion is to you, because I follow you on Instagram, and if you don't follow Arnold on Instagram, please do. You're deeply religious. You're deeply disciplined. Even off season, you work out on your own. I mean, I'm not a stalker. I like keeping an eye on footballers just to know what people are doing. And how important is something like religion for you?
For me, religion is something that puts things into perspective. Like, for example, I'll be honest, the game against Comoros, especially away, the people who know me, I was out for 3 days, because it's like someone just comes and stabs you in the chest. It was extremely painful, but then there's something like religion, there's a Bible verse that says, in everything, there's all things work together for the good of those who are called by God. So you're like, okay, this is extremely,
there's a plan somewhere.
Yeah, this is extremely painful. Like, okay, God, tell me how this will work together for the good. And then after that, you start to, okay, you come to that point where once you've realized that, then you're like, okay, now you can come down. And because after the game, you're like, there's so many thoughts, there's so many things. You're like, was it the right decision to come back, blah, 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 all those kind of stuff. But then, okay, all things work together for those who are called by Christ, by God through Christ. Like, okay, how will this work together for my good? And then, okay, you start to analyze the game. What could you have done better?
The lessons.
Yeah, the lessons. Like, okay, you go into the game. Like, I see before the second goal, I see there's this defender, the striker, coming, and he goes past Tosh. Could I have shouted to Tosh and given him, the guy who scores the goal goes behind Tosh, could I have shouted and told Tosh, hey Tosh, karada kuna jamana kuja nyuma yako? Then that, things like that. And that's what I've done, and actually that's what has made me have a career that I've had. Like in Europe, in every club that I've went and played, I've always been number 1 goalkeeper, and it's difficult for an African goalkeeper. So those kind of things. So okay, you say, okay, this is what needs to work. Okay, the first goal, it was a cross. I analyzed, could I have come? No, I couldn't have come, because it was, for me to come, maybe I needed to have a higher position, maybe on the 5-meter line. But if I did that, the guy who was making the cross wasn't covered, then the whole goal would be open. So I had to defend the goal.
Basically, you don't sleep at night.
No, you don't. So this like the game. I watched the game 3, 4, 5 times. So maybe
it's not funny, but
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, maybe I could have communicated with Niang and I call him Jose, Okush, and told them like, hey guys, you need to drop because I cannot come. You need to drop. You know, things like this. Could I have done that? And okay, I didn't communicate. Why didn't I say it? They will say, okay, like my mind. Where was my mind? Did I let the pressure? Things like that, and that's what helps you.
But I guess the best that we can hope for is that you learn from that, and the next time that won't happen because now you're more aware.
Yeah, because like the next time I don't think we'll consider goal.
Let me read a few comments here. Otieno, this is a Kenyan in the Middle East. He's a soldier. But he's based in the States. He says, Arnold, arguably the best Kenyan goalkeeper of my lifetime. Thank you. Otieno Mswati Morgan, Kenya 1, thank you for your service. Gideon Kirui Titani Senior says, Arnold the golden boy. Duncan Ochieng, okay, not the Duncan Ochieng you know. I don't think he's a fan. He says, Arnold should be serious every time in goal. I don't think it's about seriousness. It's about a situation, and if you've never been in that situation, you won't understand it.
Yeah, you never. Know? And like for me, like sometimes also like when the fans, when they criticize you, you know, you don't go defensive mode. Like sometimes I try to put myself in their shoes. You know, like, and especially Kenyan fans. You know, Kenyan fans are hungry for success. And
unfortunately.
I would say like, for me, the way I think about it is like, Kenya is hungry for success, especially in football. Hungry for success, you know, like our neighbors, you know, like if you like Tanzania, okay, maybe the national team is not doing so well, but if you could see the league is like it's thriving. And then Uganda, maybe the league is not doing so well, but the national team, you know, in Kenya, the national team, you know, performing that well. The league is also like Kenyans are hungry for success. They want, you know,
where do you think we're getting it wrong? And everyone has an opinion on this, I know.
Yeah, for me, I would say, especially with our leaders, is not involving the people who have been there, who have walked the walk, who have gone through the journey and knows what a player needs or what they would have, for example, players at Gor Mahia, what they could have, what kind of support could have made them maybe go further, or even at the national team. You find like there's so many leaders like all across the game. They want to make the decision on who's playing. You know, they want to decide the bus or the flight, all this kind of stuff. There's so many leaders who they want to be like hands-on on each and everything. If you look at the big clubs,
basically they're not letting the people they've put in charge do their job. Too much interference from all over.
Yeah, you know, like for example, if you see PSG or Manchester City, you know, the investors from there, they came and invested. They put their money. So okay, we're gonna source the money, but then the day-to-day activities of the club, you know, like PSG, the sports director is Leonardo. You know, Patrick Kluivert was involved. You see Barcelona in Manchester City. The sporting director was the former sporting director of FC Barcelona. So the only thing that they have to be accountable for, or accountable to the owners, is the results. If the team is not performing, then...
So do you think our clubs and our federations don't have enough former footballers?
Yeah, they don't like
giving advice, at least an advisory.
Yeah, and especially the people who have played in Kenya and have played abroad. I know there's so many people now abroad. There's Andrew Yombe, there's Boban, there's my uncle Mike, there's Oteshe. You know, there's so many people out there who have seen how things are working here, and
they've seen how things work abroad.
Yeah.
They've played the game, so they know the ins and outs.
The knowledge, like there are people out there like with UEFA B license, UEFA A license, and staying in Europe, they're just one of many. If you bring them to Kenya, one of a kind.
Why don't they bring themselves to Kenya? Why don't you bring yourself to Kenya? Why don't you take up a leadership position, Arnold?
For me, like that's my thought. When I'm done playing, like I said, you know, like now I've done my badges. I have my UEFA A license for goalkeeping. I'm planning. I could have had my UEFA A license for coaching, but I couldn't get it while I'm playing. So I have my UEFA B license. I'm gonna get my UEFA A license, but you know, when I'm done, I'll come back, because staying there, you're one of many, because there's so many people who can even more qualified. There's so many people having like UEFA pro license, all the kind of stuff. But when you come back home, you're one of a kind and you can do something that, help.
To contribute. I know I was interviewing Jerry Monyango here a couple of weeks ago, and he's now a goalkeeping coach for I think our under-20 team, but he's yet to get all his badges. Yeah. So I think he's working on that as well. But those are the things I imagine you're talking about.
Yeah, the badges. Because like when I took my badges as a player, you're like, okay, I know what it takes I can work with a goalkeeper and make him become, like, that's what I always say, like, when I'm done, like, the coach will be the coach for the national team in the next 5, 6, 7 years. He'll be having a headache because we'll be having so many goalkeepers at the highest level. Because I have that, and the thing that the badges do to you is just like teach you how to relay that information to these goalkeepers, because you can have the experience playing as a football player, but if you cannot send or you cannot pass that message in a way that these players will be able to understand them, it's useless.
Before we go into a break, and I don't really want to put you on the spot, but I do have to ask whether you think that Ghost Mulee is the man to lead Harambee Stars. And Ghost is a good friend of mine. We work together. Unfortunately, I'm the one who got him into radio that people say he does a better job at right now. I won't comment on that. But for me, I have no problem with Ghost. I just don't know why we got rid of Kimanzi, but I guess that is an internal issue. But what are your personal experiences working with Ghost?
Like I said, before the game against Comoros, we knew what the Comoros' strong point is and their weaknesses are. So we had all the information, and the answer to your question is yeah, absolutely, because he did the job, and us not winning the game, both home and away, was just.
So basically you're telling us don't judge Ghost based on those two games.
Yeah, those two games. Like, okay, the way the thing was done is, it's not only like in the national, like this national team, even at club level, you bring a coach in, you'll start seeing results. I've experienced that.
After some time.
Yeah, like you can get that, like, okay, it's a new coach, everything is new, then boom, you get that. You can get 2, 3 wins in a row or something like this. We experienced that this year when our coach, when we started the season, things didn't go so well, so we fired the coach, bring in a new team, and we had like 4 or 5 games unbeaten, and then things just went. So you can get that, or you can be in a situation where things are just like picking up slowly. So
in other words, patience. We need patience.
Yeah, patience.
Give Ghost time.
Yeah, patience. Maybe give him until after the World Cup qualifiers even. And then after that, then you can say, is he good enough or not good enough?
What's your response to those people who are saying that Origi has had his time and there's so many young goalkeepers who need to get a chance? Yeah. And I think the unfortunate thing with goalkeeping is it's one position.
Yeah.
It's one position. Yeah. And in your 15 or so years of playing professional football as a footballer, the odds are, as a goalkeeper, you will never make it to the national team. Yeah. And I know there are people say, oh, but Arnold has had his chance, give a chance to some of these younger guys.
My thought is, if you're good enough, then you're old enough. I don't want to be in that position because I'm Arnold Origi. Like, for example, now, me and my agent, we are working on getting a club. Mm-hmm. And at this moment, I won't just sign anything. It has to be something that I think is the right. So if it happens that maybe in March I'm clubless, even if I get a call up, I will not honor it. I'm just saying it right now because, like people say, there's so many good young goalkeepers, and the goalkeeping is one position. Actually, I'm working with so many young goalkeepers now when I'm at home to try and give them what I didn't have when I was young, because I played at the top level in Europe when I was 29. That is too late. And then so I was like, why didn't I play maybe at the age of 21 or 22 or even 19? Then it was because I lacked this and this and this and this.
I've seen on your Instagram, and I keep telling people to follow you on Instagram. I think the last thing you posted was a young kid, I think in Kibera.
Yeah.
And you were teaching him goalkeeping.
Yeah, teaching goalkeeping stuff. And then I was like, why did I make it? When I made it. Why did I make it? Okay, I did this and this and this and this and this. And by the time I was 32, I was the best goalkeeper in Norway. So if I could take that and give it to a 19, a 17, a 9-year-old, just like, okay, by the time they are 17, 16, they could be playing at the highest level.
I want us to take a break there. I do want us to come back and talk about the work you're doing on the ground right now, some of your charity work as well, because you've been so busy.
Yeah.
Even without active football, you've been quite busy. Let me just read a few comments and then we take the break. Jose Kyoko, by the way, guys are answering the Betika question on who you think, on which FKF league they sponsor. Jose Kyoko, I won't give you the answer, but representing Scotlanders FC. Oliver Don Patrick, yes, you're right, representing CBGFC Bureti in Kericho County. Imo Spencer, yes, your answer is right, representing Tamlega FC. Guys, by the way, if you have questions for Arnold, get to them because we have about 30 minutes left and we'll take some of those questions. Collins is nominating Jerusalem Red Star Football Club from Kitale, men and women. Min Blessing just wants a shout out. She's present from Abu Dhabi. Winnie Madikizela just wants a shout out. Hi, Winnie, how are you? Let me see. Most people are just complimenting you. Kari Adala says, good job, Origi, and he's also nominating Biafra Kamaliza FC. Guys, if you have any questions for Arnold Origi, we're going to continue this conversation in the second half. Don't go anywhere. But remember, the question we are asking is, which FKF league does Betika sponsor? And as you give your answer, make sure you also tell us which youth team you nominate to receive kit today, courtesy of Betika. But guys, we'll see you in a bit. Don't go anywhere.
The Absa One account. This is a great product. We've received a lot of feedback through Absa One. Absa One allows customers to simply do their banking hassle-free. It works on the premise of simplicity. It has no monthly charges. It has no minimum balances. Comes with a debit card and a checkbook. What's more, every time you swipe your debit card, we pay you a 0.3% cashback, guaranteed, no conditions, no registration. Every month you get cashback on your Absa One account. That's just on the transaction side. If you look at how we lend as Absa, we actually give loans of up to 84 months to civil servants. Anybody working in government, we lend unsecured loans of up to 7 years. For our SMEs, we're giving unsecured loans for up to 10 million. And we're saying we want to support people, assist people during this pandemic to get along and move ahead with their goals and their dreams.
Welcome back. This is Radull Live. Yes, guys, remember that there's lots of Kenyan Premier League, English Premier League action going on this weekend. I'm going to continue the conversation just now with Arnold Origi. I just need to remind you guys that in football, it's very hard to get a goal without an assist. In most cases, you need a great assist to achieve your goals. And Absa would like you to achieve your life goals this year. We had plans for 2020. Hey, they went to the dogs. 2021, we've been given another chance to achieve our goals. But if you need money, and we all do, make sure you talk to Absa. Get an Absa One account. They have unsecured loans. They have loan repayment periods of up to 7 years. There are very flexible repayment plans. Just text the word one, O-N-E, zero, no, O-zero, O-N-E. to 22268. Somebody will call you back during the week and will give you information on how you can open an ABSA One account. That's Africanacity. That is ABSA. Just a few comments, and there are two comments here which I really like. Well, not I like, but they're factual. Ronald Okoth, I'm sure you know him, former Sofapaka striker. He says young players have to step up and prove their worth. It takes more than just age and talent to be at the top. Hard work, irrespective of age, will always beat talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah, it's
So let's not just whine that I want a young goalkeeper. Can he do the job is the question. Benjamin Bogonko says Kenyan football management is always about what can I benefit with my family. That's all it is, just like our politicians. It is very, very sad. Okay, that is... guys, give your opinions, and if you have a question you want to ask Arnold, ask away. People just want to win kit. Jamin Captain says, Freedom Soccer Academy in Rongo. And he gives the league which Betika sponsors. John Castrim, Shikambi FC Youth Team in Kakamega. And oh, this is from Nick. He says Arnold has seen it all from Santos FC, HIFK. You said HIFK.
yeah.
HIFK, the national team. What does he think sets us apart from producing elite goalkeepers? And what is he doing to improve that on young and upcoming goalies? And we had started that conversation before the break as well, Arnold, because there is stuff you're doing on the ground with the upcoming, and not just goalkeepers, teams as a whole. I've seen you. Yeah, just tell us about your programs that you're running.
Like if you start with the goalkeepers, I think the country, I would say like Kenya, we have been blessed that at least we have a goalkeeper who has played in Europe for over 20 years. So, and he knows what it takes to play in Europe. So for sure, in the coming days, we will have top goalkeepers from Kenya playing in the top leagues in Europe for sure. There's no doubt about that. In terms of charity work, you know, in terms of, I would like especially the kids, because I was once a kid, you know, growing up in Dandora, playing barefoot, and you know what a football kit, like a football shoe would mean. Like even now as a pro, for example, when Puma releases a new brand or a new set of shoes, they would send it to you, and the moment I get them, I'm always excited. I want to go, just
give them out.
just like go and train and play. So I would imagine what that would do to a 9-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old in Dandora or in Kakamega, you know, playing barefoot, and then all of a sudden has a pair of football shoes, you know. It will make him want to be on the pitch, always interested, and that's the only way you can make it as a football player, always on the pitch, working hard, motivated. So that's what I do. Just try to empower and develop young talent and also young boys.
With your experience working in Europe, playing in Europe, I'm assuming the teams you played for, they all have youth structures, and that is something I've seen here in Kenya. We're not so strict about it. That Premier League clubs, for example, need to have youth structures. How was it of benefit when you were abroad, and what can our clubs here do?
The youth structures are important because, you know, like for us, we learn football the street way. You're just like, okay, you go get a ball, you play, so you learn new stuff the street way. But that's good. That's not bad. But you know, also you need to learn like the basics of the games. You know, how to make a pass or when to make a pass, how to weight the pass, and what to look at, the rooms to look at, how to think as a football player. And that's what you get in a structured academy. You know, so there. It is important, and you know, when I went to Norway, I was 20, 21, 22. But in terms of development, I was 16, 17. The things that I lacked, I was like, and you know, that's not good. So a 20-year-old at that time playing at the highest league in Norway, he had learned all the basics when he was
in his earlier teens,
because like at the highest level, the coach has no time to teach you the basic stuff. He wants to, then like now at the highest level, the coach is working now on the intensity, like his philosophy, how you want to play, how you want to play. So he's expecting
not teaching you the
how to pass or which room to cover when you're defending or how to those kind of stuff. The coach he has no time to do that because for him his job is dependent on results. If he doesn't produce the results, he gets fired. And like he's coaching there, he's working for his mortgage, for whatever, so he has no time for that.
He's not there to teach you.
Yeah, so all those things are being taught at the academy. He's expecting you to have learned those things at an early age, and for us, if we don't have those things, then like having players, we would be having accidents. We would be having like, okay, we have a goalkeeper in 2-3 years who can go and play in Europe for over 20 years. In the next 16, 17 years, then we get another Gabe or another Olunga, just like it will just be accident.
So we're fluking it, basically. We're fluking it. How did you manage to stay in Europe for so long? Because we have too many players who go one season they're back, if they even manage a season. Trials, some don't even pass trials.
It's hard work. It's hard work. It's discipline. And these are the things that you're being taught. For example, you're being taught at the academy. For me, I had just to learn it, just for example, looking at Cristiano Ronaldo or at that time, Peter Cech. It's like, how can this guy be able to play at the highest level for so long, playing 2-3 seasons without being injured? Then you start asking questions, you have to do research. Okay, you have to sleep on time, you have to eat, you have to do this, you have to do that. And then you start implementing those, because talent alone is not enough. So it's just how you take care of your body, how you work. And like when you go to Norway as a player, as a goalkeeper, you have to work 10 times harder than a homegrown player, because when you go there, even when you're equal, if you and a Norwegian kid, you're on the same level, he's better than you because he's Norwegian. So you have to be like way above him. Yeah, just way, like you have to be like 3-4 levels above him for you to be seen as good as him. So then now, like, this is equal playing ground. This, he's above you, so you cannot be at the same.
You have to work twice as hard.
Yeah, you have to work twice as hard. That's why you see me always in the gym sweating and this kind of stuff, because you know that the moment you don't perform, you're done.
In fact, because people like someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, people say that I think it's a fact though, that he's the first on the pitch and the last out.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that he is so good.
Yeah.
But if you want to if you want to distinct yourself from the rest, you have to do that.
And I'll give you an example. The first day I signed my contract for Moss, the players were not doing it like it wasn't like intentional, but just training starts at 9 or training starts at 10. You have to be there. All of them, they were there at 9. For me, I come from Kenya, I used to play for Mathare United, so we just lived in Park Road, just behind Goa. So like when people are warming up, that's when I'm jumping the wall. So I took the same mentality to Norway. And I always felt that when training started, I was always like playing catch up. Everything was fast. But then what coming to the pitch an hour before, what it does, it's just like subconsciously, you start picking up, you start like tuning yourself, getting ready, getting into the zone, getting into the area. And then when training starts, you're there. So I was like, I think it was just like a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, I think it was just coincidence. I was like, okay. It's also embarrassing to always be the last one. Yeah, just like you're shy, you're coming in and then there's like
tail between your legs.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I have to be a bit earlier because I'm also shy. I'm shy, so I have to be a bit earlier so that to avoid always being on people's eye when you're coming in. And all of a sudden, I just started to like see I started to enjoy training more. I was at par. My performances in training were improving. I was playing better in games, and I was like, wow. Then all of a sudden you start to research, and you're like, okay, you need to be there early. You need to prepare well. So like Ronaldo, you come back, you come in early, you leave late. Actually, it's just the same principle as the Machopi Wachuo. Yeah, they are always if class starts at 7, they're there at 6. If it ends at 5, they stay. Yeah. And that's why I didn't want to go. That's like that's why like I was not a fan of school. It was like to be I thought like if I go and play football, I don't have to do this because football just go and play. But then the same principles, I realized I have to apply them.
You realize if you want to get to the top of your game, it's not play.
Yeah.
It's work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, what happens on the pitch is just a result of what you're doing off the pitch. If what you're doing off the pitch is no good, then what's happening on the pitch won't be good.
Yeah, because it's a direct translation. Yeah. The effort you've put in is what you reap out. I don't know if this is a fact, but I'll ask this question anyway from Xavier Gitao Masharia. He says, why is it that the world doesn't trust black goalkeepers? Is it a fact?
It's a fact. It's true.
We don't see as many
it's a fact.
in the top flight.
Yeah, it's a fact. I remember my agent, we were sending out, and there was a club, I won't say, but it was a club in the championship of England. They saw that I was good, but then I even have it on my email. They were put off by the fact that I was a Kenyan.
Really?
Yeah. That's the answer. Like, okay, he's good, but that's the message that came. We are a bit put off because he's a Kenyan. And so, yeah, like it's a fact. It's true.
And they just told you point blank.
Yeah, I'll show you the email. I don't want to mention the name of the team, but I have the email. But the thing is
that's racism.
Yeah, like that's
I'm sorry.
It's like yeah. So
I feel like swearing, but I won't.
But it was. But at the same time, it's also because of the work that's being done on the ground. Like, I have to be honest. When I went to Norway, my first season was good. I was playing for Moss. And there were big clubs like Rosenborg and Vålerenga, these are the biggest clubs in Norway. So they came and saw me, but I was like, okay, he's not yet good enough for the first league to be a goalkeeper. Because first of all, I'm training with a few young players, young goalkeepers every day at 5 at Italy. And like when you start training at the level, like first of all, the pressure of performing at a bigger club, we don't know that. Where the moment the demands starts to get big,
you're not prepared.
Yeah, we shrink and we go like this with our heads. And number two was like, okay, now the basic stuff like the crosses. We never thought about the crosses, how to position yourself, how to read the game, things like this. So we lack all this kind of information, all this kind of training when we are young. And some of it, some of like it's justified, like not them trusting us. Some of it is justified, but
in fact, I was about to say that as much as we are insulted that they reduce it to the fact that you're Kenyan, it's also a wake-up call to us that is not only just the way we are perceived, but unfortunately it represents a lot of facts on the ground.
Yeah.
That indeed, as Kenya, we're not a serious country when it comes to the development of football.
Yeah, and especially goalkeepers. Like I would be honest and say, when I was young, the only kind of goalkeeping you get, you go to the training session and then the coach gets the ball and he starts to throw it. 20, and you see it even now. 20 times, but then I went to Europe and it was like, wow. There's positioning. You have to train the way you play. You have to train. So like, they would call us like circus goalkeepers because we dive, we jump, like we are agile. Okay, we don't take away our method or our philosophy because my agility, the way I could jump, yes, I have to agree, it came from this 20. But it has to be limited. There has to be other aspects. There's so much into goalkeeping than just like Ruka, 20 Amka, because sometimes you just see like coaches, they're killing the goalkeeper. Like the kid cannot even get up, but the coach is throwing the ball. 20, and then that's it. That's the only training you get as a goalkeeper.
So we have the natural talent, but the development is highly lacking.
Yeah, and that's why I'm passionate about coming back, because I have this. I'm a Kenyan, and the only justice I can do to my country is just like bring what I have.
And you know what you lack.
Yeah.
There's a comment here from Fayol O. Henry. He says, Radull, there's a lot of talent from the grassroots. I wish FKF, he says KFF, so he's out of touch by about 7 years. He says, I wish KFF could come up with the procedure of supporting these young clubs, because for them for them to be noticed, you have to know somebody somewhere in Nairobi with a top club. I've always had issues with the federation and how they scout. But I did have Nick Mwendwa here on this seat a couple of weeks ago, and he did mention that there's a program they're starting with schools, because I think that's the only way to reach every corner of this country, by using the school network to see what talent exists. But I don't know how thorough that program is. But I guess, all I'm saying it is critical to scout properly. Yeah,
but like we just have to say that there is, and especially, but the thing is, I think the positive thing is, especially in the Mtaz, there's so many coaches who are so passionate. They are so passionate, but they don't have the know-how. Like this guy, the coach that was throwing the ball at me when I was young, he's passionate about it, but if he could just get the information.
So even our coaches lack the technical ability, they can't even impart that knowledge.
Yeah, but they want to, like a coach would be there for like 6-7 hours with kids, but then now this is up to the people, like.
So even the coaching programs, to step up on the coaching programs.
Roll out the coaching programs.
Otieno says here, I believe the mess in Harambee Stars is beyond Arnold. You look at his outstanding form overseas and you think maybe there's just a big problem with our national team as a whole. We qualified for AFCON for the first time in, I think, 14 years in Egypt. I went there and watched them myself, and it was a little bit of a disaster. I don't know, I'm sure you were watching the matches, even though you were not in the team. How would you assess our performance or do you think that was progress, at least we were at AFCON? Because I feel we've set our targets a little bit low.
Yeah.
In terms of where we could have taken off from, say, 15 years ago. But it's like you've been crushed and now your targets have become average.
Yeah.
Are our targets average? Are our expectations?
Yeah, because for me, in all honesty, with the kind of talent that we have, we need to, and I actually, like, rightly so, the fans, they need, like, when they demand, if, for example, we lose against Comoros and they want to kill us, for me, I think it's a positive thing, because we are a big nation, we are a big footballing nation, and we should be looking at, going to the World Cups and the African Cup of Nations and competing, not just participating, competing. Like Madagascar, they went and they caused, they caused a star in the African Cup of Nations. So we honestly we need to up our expectations, and we need to really like. Then with that, then with that, you start like, okay, how can we get to that level? Then just put in the work.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about KPL clubs and the need for them to have academies, but we also have a whole marketing, financial challenge that our clubs are facing. And I was interviewing someone the other day who was saying probably the way we need to go is getting Sonkos to buy clubs, not Mike Sonko, Sonkos, as in people with money, as in Abramoviches. We've seen in the English Premier League, for example, we've seen the influx of investment from the Far East, from the Middle East, from Kenyans with money, from people with money. Is that the way we should be going? Because the way we market, the way we run our clubs in Kenya, it's jua kali.
But again, Carol, like, if I'm an investor and I have, like, I would, like Abramovich, when it comes to buy Chelsea, he has made like his business plan. He has like his projections. So like, okay, if I'm buying this club at 100 million, how much will it be worth in the next 7-8 years? Like, will I cannot just come, like, then if you just come and put in money and don't get, then you'll be doing charity work, so I think it just needs to, before we go to this invest, because like if I'm going to come and invest my money, at the end of the day it's business.
It has to come back.
Yeah, how much money am I making? And for that, this guy as a businessman, maybe he has no football mind. For him, he thinks like, okay, he sees the numbers, makes his own projections, and like, okay, I'm gonna make some good profit. Okay, let me come and put in money there. But if he comes to a club where, like, they don't even know, like, they don't even have a structure, they don't even have an accountant, they like the marketing, they don't even have a stadium, like, there's no source of income, like, there's no what, just like, it's.
How would you recommend it happens then?
For me, just like.
how can our clubs make money? Because right now they're looking for sponsors, but those seem to be short-term solutions because you're looking for a sponsor to get you through the league. Most of the sponsors don't even give the clubs enough money. Like Gor Mahia, right now we have title sponsors, they have club sponsors, but they still don't have enough money to play continentally, for example. What would you see as a way that we can make our clubs profitable?
First of all, just like if it's a club, professionalize everything. Do things in a professional way. Produce quality. Once the quality is there, something that if I'm a sponsor, I would want my name to be tied. Yeah. And then if maybe for example, if I go to a sponsor with a proposal, even if a sponsor comes and say, okay, this is what we're doing, this is how much money we are making, this is how much money we're looking to make in the next 5, 6, 7 years, that kind of stuff. But just start simple, just make everything, do things in a professional way. With whatever little you have, just do things in a professional way.
But then it also means we need to do a lot of branding, because branding, I think, is where a lot of our clubs are letting us down. We don't have much time left. I just want to ask you a few questions. One, who are some of the best players you've played with in Harambee Stars? If you were to choose, say, I don't want you to go through your first 11, because that will take a bit more time than we have. Who would you single out as players who you feel probably didn't break out in Europe but should have?
Like
could have
locally.
Kenyan players. Yes, Kenyan
like
players.
Jamal Mohammed. I remember I told him after the game against Uganda, we were in the bus. I called him Babu. Babu. Usipocheza Europe. Anasema tu Europe ati Spain wapi. Usipocheza hizi sijui Norway wapi. Usipocheza Europe, La Liga, other levels, Serie A, then I'll be disappointed. It would be a big waste, because I remember when I was in Moss, he came for trials in Vålerenga. It's a big team in Norway, Oslo. And word came, Moss is like 45 minutes away from Oslo. So there were players who were living like far from Oslo. So it was like, there's a Kenyan guy in Vålerenga. He's tearing people apart. He's making players look like amateurs. And I was like, who's this Kenyan player? Then I came to find out it was Jamal. So he had the potential. So for me, the best who didn't make it to the very top.
Jamal, and I don't want to talk about Jamal, and he's not sitting here, but for me, Jamal seemed to be his own worst enemy. And
no, I think also in terms of management, I think the people who managed him, or like Kenyan football, did not to manage people like Jamal.
Because talented man. For me, I agree with you. One of the most talented players this country's ever seen.
The coaches, they lack like the man, as a coach or a manager. It's not just a tactic. Like, okay, you need to be able to handle different characters in the team. Like for example, Alex Ferguson. I would compare Jamal to Eric Cantona.
Oh, erratic.
Yeah, like he's like, but Alex Ferguson, he knew how to handle him.
How to manage such a character. And to get him to refocus that energy onto the pitch. Yeah,
because like players would complain, like for example, Cantona, like in England, when they're traveling, they would have suits, and decent shoes.
Yes.
But he would come with
with what he wants.
Yeah, and running shoes. So he'd wear a suit with running shoes. But Alex Ferguson knew how to handle him.
How to manage him.
Yeah. Gave him freedom, like, okay, he wants to talk football, talked with him football, gave him responsibility, gave him the freedom, do what you want. Like Neymar, the coaches, they know how to handle Neymar.
And I guess that's our problem. We have coaches, not really managers.
Yeah, so like Jamal, you'll be like, we went down to Kuchenga, I was treated then. Like for me also, like he was my teammate, and honestly, like I say, now that I know and I'm planning to go into management, I would say he was frustrated. Like Kenya didn't know how to handle him, and so I portrayed him as an indisciplined player. And the thing about football as well is the clubs will always have the voice. So what the clubs portray
is what comes out.
Yeah. So nobody had his story or so like
Jamal should have played in the Premier League.
Yeah,
Jamal could have in terms of his talent. Yeah. Very quickly before we wrap, Divock Origi is your cousin. I see you're really close. What have you learned from him, and what has he learned from you in all your interactions? Because I'm sure he sees you like a big brother or something.
Yeah, for Divock, what I've learned from Divock, being calm, being patient, and like, for example, the period that he had, like now he's a Liverpool legend. The period that he had a period at the back of, not being played, being on the bench. Then he comes in against Newcastle, boom, scores a winning goal against Barcelona and all that kind of stuff. Against just before he scores against Barcelona in Porto, he gets substituted after 45 minutes. That just when you think like, now I'm gaining momentum, then boom, but still you're able to be calm.
That's I would be so frustrated.
Yeah, and like you talk to him, he was like, easygoing, just having fun, and just like he was so. That's what I've learned. What I've learned from him. From what he has learned from me is just like, you're being aggressive. Being aggressive, going for what you want, and just like that a bit of aggressiveness. Yeah.
There was a whole debate when he decided he's not going to play for Kenya. But for me, I'm like, if you're going to get the opportunity to go to the World Cup, I'm sorry, it's a no-brainer.
I remember the time that the federation, they wanted him to come and play for the national team. I think it was Coach Adele, wanted him to come and play for the national team. We were going to play against Comoros. And the federation, we have a chartered flight and all that kind of stuff. So the flight, I think it was this flight 5:40 or something. I don't know if it got delayed or there was no program. We went to the Comoros airport. Is just like maybe this living room. So we went there. We were supposed to leave Comoros at, was it noon, midday? But then the flight, I don't know, it didn't come. So we just sat there and waited, and even the people, like, there's no duty free, just like just a small shop. So the person who was there with the shop, he sat with us and waited, but then he saw like, these guys, they have because like nobody's buying anything. So it's like, there's nothing to do here. So he closed the shop and went. The airport was closed and went. We stayed there for like 5, 6, 7 hours just waiting. So we were supposed to leave at 12. Well, I think we left the hotel at 8 to be at the airport at 10. But then we left, just stayed in the airport until I think it was 7, 8 p.m. in the evening. Yeah, and I was like, but then Divock was at Lille, and I was like, if this was Divock, if he made the mistake of coming to play for Kenya, this would have been like,
this is what he would be experiencing.
Yeah, so and as you say, you get a chance to play at the World Cup, then
I don't blame him. Yeah. If we want that caliber of players coming back to say, I want to play for Kenya, we need to give you something back to you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, we're still not a serious country when it comes to how we manage our football.
Yeah.
We're basically out of time. But I want to thank you for coming through. We didn't talk about what maybe because you're very humble, but there's a charity program you're running when COVID first hit, and you were focusing on the mothers.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about that before we wrap.
Yeah.
Before we select a winner for our kit.
Yeah, because at that point there was I saw there was so many charity work being done. There were people doing, like Victor was doing something, Olunga was doing something, Marcelo was doing something, but this was just focusing on people who, they had jobs, they have homes and those kind of stuff, but nobody was focusing on the especially the street families, especially the street mothers. And for me, I'm a mama's boy, so I have a soft heart for mothers. So I was like, because you wonder, like with the lockdown, you know how these people survive, from leftovers from restaurants or well wishers, like 5 bob here and there. But then when the lockdown comes, everything goes. So I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's do something for them. So I managed to use the contacts that I have. We managed to collect, like, it was, I think, 500,000. And then we decided, okay, now we're going to be giving them food 3 times a week, dinner and breakfast. And we did that from when COVID started in April until when the lockdown was eased up I think it was in June or something like this. So we were giving them food 3 times a day, dinner and breakfast. And then but the whole thing was not just when COVID stops, then we disappear. So we tried to see what we can do. So we did masks, but then I knew that the quality wouldn't be that good. So I was like, I won't sell the mask. But then again, I managed to summon my friends. So gathered some, I think it was like 150, it was like 500 masks, selling each for 100 bob. So we managed to buy at least 450 masks, and then we gave the mothers the money. So just like now, we're trying to empower them. There's a guy now who wants bibs for his academy. He's abroad, and I was like, okay, I know him. So like, okay, instead of buying bibs and importing them, because these mothers, they have the money, we bought them like the sewing machines. So why can we like give us the tender? We make the bibs and then we sell them to you at a cheaper price. So that's what.
But that's brilliant, because I mean,
now.
you either give someone fish or you teach them to fish,
Yeah.
and if they can become self-sustaining, to be able to sustain themselves, and that there's not much else you can do.
Yeah.
But thanks, Arnold, and thank you for the good work. Thank you for
thanks.
the good stuff you're doing. One of these days, I'll accompany you to Kibera and kick the ball with you.
Yeah, I will just with the Kibera kids, also like with the academies. Like now, I have the tools and the equipments. Like I can say, like tomorrow, we're going to have like a one-on-one sessions with kids who can pay. But then I'm gonna hire the Kibera Angels equipments, the balls and the cones and all that, and then whatever we get from this session, we give them to Kibera Angels so that they can be able to run their programs. Yeah, so like I think I'm gonna have like 3-4 kids, and that will
train tomorrow.
Yeah, to train tomorrow. So I think we're gonna raise like maybe 10-12K, and then that we give it to Kibera Angels. And
that's brilliant. Keep it up. Keep it up. I wish I was free tomorrow. Tomorrow I have to go and award the kit that was won last week by soccer sisters in Dagoretti. So that's what I was doing tomorrow. I'll be doing tomorrow. I want to name at least four clubs that were nominated. Then you'll help me choose. And I know you were biased towards Dandora, but I don't see any Dandora club here just as yet. Imo Spencer has. By the way, the answer is the Betika National Super League. That is the league that the FKF league that is sponsored by Betika. Imo Spencer nominated a local team in Bungoma. They're called Tamlega FC. Martin Orico nominated Young Rovers FC. John Castream nominated Shikambi FC youth team in Kakamega. And Jose Kyoko rallied his friends to type like almost 20 different messages nominating Scotlanders FC. So I will ask you which one you want: Scotlanders, Shikambi, Young Rovers, or Tamlega?
Because like, was it Kyoko?
Yeah, Jose Kyoko.
Yeah, he rallied his friends and they sent like.
By the way, they've sent like 10, 20 different messages
and then
for
it means,
Scotlanders.
it shows that they really want it.
They really need it.
Want it. So yeah.
By the way, so officially we will give the kit to Scotlanders FC. Jose Kyoko, thank you for rallying your friends. Rally them to watch Radull live every week as well. I wish we had so much more kit because the need is so huge.
Yeah, I know.
The need is so huge. I know Betika do what they can, which they cannot give to the whole country. But I will be giving away one kit on this show at least for the next couple of weeks, as long as we have stock available.
Yeah, and that's really good because the need is there. And if like Betika can do it, then it can inspire someone else. So that's also why I do it, and try to show that you're doing it so that like someone else can see it and do it, because
it means so much to these kids. It means so much. Well, being Betika, by the way, it has to be over 18s. So it means so much to these young players to just get the facility. The way you were saying, they need gloves, they need shoes, there's so many things they need. I wish I was Abramovich. But thank you so much, Arnold, for coming through.
It was a pleasure.
On Radull Live.
It was a pleasure.
Next week we'll have another great show for you. This is all about all sport. It's all sport. We've had we ran a series of women, hockey, rugby, football. Now we're going back to focusing a bit on other sport. But thanks so much for coming, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Carol.
And I know this is personal, but congratulations on your engagement.
No. That's, by the way, though, it's like. Those are just rumors, but
those are rumors.
Those are just rumors.
Sour. Those are bloggers misleading. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again next week on Radull Live. Air bump.